In the words of a wise man there is great power, but his silence is more powerful still. The greatest men teach us most effectively when they are purposefully silent. The silent attitude of the great man noted, perhaps, by one or two of his disciples, only is recorded and preserved through the ages, while the obtrusive words of the merely clever talker, heard perhaps by thousands, and at once popularized, are neglected and forgotten in, at most, a few generations. The silence of Jesus, when asked by Pilate, "What is truth?" is the impressive, the awful silence of profound wisdom. It is pregnant with humility and reproof, and perpetually rebukes that shallowness that, illustrating the truth, that fools step in where angels fear to tread, would in terms of triteness parcel out the universe, or think to utter the be-all and the end-all of the mystery of things in some textual formula or theological platitude. When plied with questions about Brahma, God, by the argumentative Brahmins, Buddha remained silent. He taught them better than they knew, and if by his silence he failed to satisfy the foolish, he thereby profoundly instructed the wise. Why all this ceaseless talk about God with its accompaniment of intolerance? Let men practice some measure of kindliness and goodwill, and thereby acquaint themselves with the simple rudiments of wisdom. Why all this speculative argument about the nature of God? There is no greater mark of folly and moral immaturity than irreverence and presumption, no greater manifestations of wisdom and moral maturity than reverence and humility. Lao Tzu, in his own life, exemplified his teaching that the wise man teaches without words. Disciples were attracted to him by the power which ever accompanies a wise reserve. Living in comparatively obscurity and silence, not courting the ear of men, and never going out to teach, men sought him out and learned of his wisdom. The silent acts of the great ones are beacons to the wise, illuminating their pathway with no uncertain radiance. For he who would attain to virtue and wisdom must learn, not only when to speak and what to say, but also when to remain silent and what not to say. The right control of the tongue is the beginning of wisdom. The right control of the mind is the consummation of wisdom. By curbing his tongue, a man gains possession of his mind, and to have complete possession of one's mind is to be the master of silence. The fool babbles, gossips, argues, and bandies words. He glories in the fact that he has had the last word and has silenced his opponent. He exults in his own folly, is ever on the defensive, and wastes his energies in unprofitable channels. He is like a gardener who continues to dig and plant in unproductive soil. The wise man avoids idle words, gossip, vain argument, and self-defense. He is content to appear defeated, rejoices when he is defeated, knowing that, having found and removed another error in himself, he has thereby become wiser. Blessed is he who does not strive for the last word. Backward I see in my own days where I sweated through fog with linguists and contenders. I have no mockings or arguments. I witness and wait. Silence under provocation is the mark of a cultured and sympathetic soul. The thoughtless and unkind are stirred by every slight provocation, and will lose their mental balance by even the appearance of a personal encroachment. The self-possession of Jesus is not a miracle. It is the flower of culture, the diadem of wisdom. When we read of Jesus, that he answered never a word, and of Buddha, that he remained silent, we get a glimpse of the vast power of silence, of the silent majesty of true greatness. The silent man is the powerful man. Every mechanic knows that before a force can be utilized and definitely directed, it must be conserved and stored, and the wise man is a spiritual mechanic who conserves the energies of his mind, holds them in masterful abeyance, ready at any moment to direct them, with effective purpose, to the accomplishment of some necessary work.